So the first part here is the tournament schedule. Um, this is on our website. If you go to junior travel and then you go to teams and you click on boys, it will take you to the boys page here. Each team is listed by a tab here on the left. It'll have a bunch of information. We're working on getting the rosters updated. But it has our tournament schedule, dates and locations. All of these tournament schedules for each team is current, is the most updated and current ones that we have. The only dates we're waiting on right now are just finalizing the USAV AAU Nationals tournament dates. And at the top of each tab, you'll find their practice schedule. And for the two teams that have strength and conditioning, the 18s and the 17-1s, all of that information is up on your team's page or the website, and it will stay there throughout the rest of the season. So if you have any information, if you have any questions, I'm trying to put as much information on the website, on the different team pages as possible to make it easier for you guys to find it. So that's our tournament schedule and the practice schedule there. The next part is the team hotels. So when you go to the team page here, right underneath boys teams, it'll say 2022 hotel information. You click on that link and it will take you to the team hotel page. Now, it's set up a little different for the girls, but for the boys, if you click on each tournament, it'll take you to the information for that particular tournament for the hotel. So this first tournament coming up in Maryland, we just get hotel rooms for the coaches. So as parents, you guys are allowed and encouraged to stay with family, friends, hotels, Airbnb, whatever you would like, because these tournaments are not stay and play. So we don't have to stay at any particular place. And, if it's close enough and you wanted to drive back and forth as well, if you needed to, you could certainly do that, just as long as you get to the tournament location on time for what your coaches would like you to do and all that stuff. It's good with me if you want to drive back and forth, hotel, whatever. But you'll see the tournament hotels that the coaches are staying in. So right now we have the first two Power League tournaments, which are 2-day events, Saturday and Sunday. We have the hotels listed there. We have rooms for our coaches. So if you'd like to stay there, both hotels are about 10 minutes or less from the playing site. So they're a pretty 10-minute drive, I should say, from the playing site. So they're pretty close by. And they're pretty decent hotels for what we have in the area. For the teams that are flying and going to their tournaments, we already have rooms for the coaches and all the boys reserved. So parents, you guys are welcome to stay in these hotels. Most of them should still have room, especially with COVID and everything. There's a lot more space at hotels. But you're also welcome to stay somewhere else or stay with family. Just your boys need to stay in their assigned room because we need to book a certain number of nights for these Florida Fest, Boys Southwest, and Boys Bain, Boys Atlantic, Northeastern. We have to have a certain number of hotel nights in order to play in those tournaments. So here's a good question. How far in advance will we get start and end times for tournaments so we can book flights? The actual schedule time-wise usually comes out 3 to 4 days for these big tournaments, 3 to 4 days before the first day of play. Sometimes we'll get to know our wave. So these tournaments are an AM wave or a PM wave. Sometimes we will get to know more in advance if we are going to get the AM or PM wave. So that would tell us if we're going to start at 8 a.m. or usually 2 or 3 p.m. is the afternoon wave. But that isn't known too far in advance. So I would suggest for any tournament you're flying to fly in the night before. And you can fly in if you want to leave after school. There's no real set time on what time you need to leave from Richmond. But I would definitely fly in the night before. So for Florida Fest, the 21st or the 3rd for Austin, because those are 3-day tournaments. So they will play for all 3 days, the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. We'll also be posting our coach's flight information by the end of this month. As soon as I get it all put together, we'll put up the coach's flight information right here on this hotel page. So parents, if you can't travel and you're just sending your son on a flight, we would ask you just put them on a flight with a coach or another parent or family that you know is traveling, just so that way we can make sure that your son can get through the airport and get to the gates, and if there's any issues with flight delays or anything like that, there's someone there to help him work that out, and then also to make sure you can get to the hotel from the airport. But we'll put all that information up here in the next week or two once I get all that stuff done. And then for Bain, that's really a driving tournament. That's about 3.5 hours north of here. It's over 2 weekends. So the first weekend is the 16s group. And then the second weekend they have the 17s and 18s. We are staying at the same hotel both weekends. It's about a 5-minute drive from Spooky Nook. So those are also pretty close by to the playing site. And we try and get as close as we can. The team hotel here in Orlando, the Hilton, that's connected to the convention center through a walkway. So the boys will be able, and parents and everyone can just, it's like a 10-minute walk. They can just walk back and forth to the gym. And then these hotels in Texas for the Southwest Championship, those are right across the street from the convention center. So it's, 30-second walk over to the gym. So we were lucky to get pretty good hotels this year for that. And I'll address some more stuff on tournaments towards the end as well. So the next thing we'll go over quick is so part of the player coach meeting on their day before their first practice. We're going to talk about some recruiting stuff, and for those that are interested, we have a ton of information and help for that. But we also have some info on our page here under the juniors tab, and just go to recruiting. The big website that if your son's interested in playing in college and even just thinking about it, and especially for these bigger tournaments, they need to go to universityathlete.com. This is the homepage, and see this button, the button where it says request athlete account. Click on that and fill it out. The accounts are free for the boys, for the athletes. It'll just ask them to verify their USAV number and the website for the club they play at. And then college coaches are the ones that pay for it. So they use this to access team rosters and track the boys and girls that they're interested in at tournaments and find out what court they're playing on next. They can make some notes on that and really help them track kids through different graduation years. So if they're interested at all, this is the most important thing to start with. And then I'll talk with the team separately when we have that meeting about some different helpful recruiting services, or other stuff that we can do through RVC and all of that. But this is the most important thing that you guys can get taken care of pretty quickly online. The other two things we got to talk about, make sure you guys are getting the membership for USA Volleyball and for AAU. This is a link that I sent out and that your coaches should be sending out that takes you directly to get a membership with USA Volleyball through the Old Dominion region, and it puts you right into RVC. Make sure that when you go through this first screen, as you can see, I'm my own account owner, but for you guys, this would be the parent. So you want to make sure that, and it's seems a little backwards, but you want to make sure that you create an account for yourself. And then like here, I can add a child, and that's where you add your son to your parent account, and then you would buy your son a membership. So just make sure that you put in your own personal information, and it will ask for your own date of birth. As the parent, it'll ask for your date of birth and all of that too, and an email address. Put that information in, and then it will ask for your son's information, birthday, and all of that stuff, and put that in. If you get to a point where it tells you that you cannot buy a membership, you probably just put in you probably are under the wrong birthday, because you have to be at least 18 to buy a membership. So your son being under 18 cannot buy his own membership through this website. So you just probably have to go back and start over and make sure that you're putting yourself as the account owner, because then obviously you're old enough to buy the membership for your son. And this is the second year we're using this. So myself and Chris Wakefield are pretty familiar with it. But if you run into any issues, just send me an email, and I can email the Old Dominion region, and I can talk with Skip, who is the director of the region, and we can get it figured out. And we just need to get this done before the end of November, so we can make sure everyone's on a roster for all the tournaments. The other membership is a lot easier to set up. This is for Aau Volleyball, and this is the website. It's also in one of the links I sent out. This one, all you have to do is just purchase the athlete membership. It's $14 or $16. It's for 1 or 2 years. There's a difference there. When you go to sign up, it'll ask you for a club code, and I put our club code for AAU in that email also, I believe. And that will be that will automatically link you to RVC as well. And I believe that is all I have on here that I wanted to show everyone on the website. Any questions on anything of this? Yes, strength and conditioning will be at Bird Hill. We're using the new weight room and setup that we have over there. That's done again through Bon Secours. So they're going to have their own personal trainers and that kind of stuff come out and work with the boys. And it'll be the same 2 or 3 people that rotate through, so they'll get to know your sons and daughters for the girls' national teams that are doing it. And so I think it'll be really good for the boys to have this and get to work with those people, because they do a really good job. And yes, I can put up the venue addresses for the tournaments. For the ones that I have so far, I can put those up on that tournament page to go along with the hotel, so you guys can have that too. on that part of the website. Okay. And then last couple of things I have to go over, and then I'll open it up to any other questions from the parents. For practices, just some general practice expectations. Your coaches will be reaching out and we'll talk to the boys about, their own set of practice expectations, but just make sure to arrive as early as possible, at least 10 to 15 minutes so they can get their stuff on, chat with their teammates, get ready for practice and start warming up. Support your sons in being coachable and flexible. And if they have, any questions or they're getting frustrated with a drill at practice or they don't understand something, please encourage them to chat with their coach before or after practice, or set up a time to talk with them before or after practice, so that our coaches can explain what's going on and why they're doing this, or why we're doing this drill at practice. And also for playing time, I'm sure you all saw, or it's in the parent player handbook, but the whole levels of of talking to a coach. We always want the kid, or in this case your son, to address the coach first, just coach and player, before or after practice. If they have concerns about playing time or a position or anything like that, always encourage your son to talk first with the coach or their coaching staff, and get some answers and go back and forth. And then if they would like you to come into, you guys can set up a time to talk with you and your son and the coach. And then if you need even more help, I'll come in and we'll all meet together. But I always tell our coaches, and we'll never meet with just the parents when we're talking about their son. We'll always want your son to be in the meeting with you guys and with the coaching staff, so that we can get everyone on the same page. One thing we're going to do this year for the boys and VYVille and everyone else, because it's just become a massive problem at practice, we're going to have little boxes or area where the kids are going to put their cell phones up at the front desk in a box. We're going to have the facility monitor sitting there, so someone will be making sure no one walks off with the phones. But we're going to have them put them in at the beginning of practice, and they can get them back at the end. You guys will all have your coach's phone number, cell phone, and they will have them at practice. So if you need to contact your son, you just contact the coach and say, hey, I need to talk to my son. Sure, no problem. We'll let him go get his phone, and then you guys can chat. Obviously, if they have if they need it, I know some have medical issues, or they need to monitor it for their if they have type 1 or whatever, they can certainly keep that by the court. But as long as they don't need it for a medical reason, we're going to ask them to put it in the box up by the front desk with the facility monitor, and then get it at the end of practice. So that was practice. And then for tournaments, whenever we're traveling out of state, even if it's one of the closer ones, please let the coach know when you arrive in town at your hotel or wherever you're staying. If we're not all in the same hotel, just let the coach know that you got there, and then just so they can kind of keep track of making sure everyone's getting in town and not having any issues. If you're flying, we'll send out an email to get all the flight information for each team. That way, in case we know there's a flight delay and we have 6 kids on it, and they're not getting in till the next day, I could call the tournament organizer and try and get the schedule switched around so that we're not missing games or having to forfeit and stuff like that. And just to generally make sure we're all getting in to the hotel and stuff without any issues. I'll post the coach flight information online by the end of November. Coaches will be sending out a schedule for tournaments, what time they want the boys at the gym, and if they want to have a team meeting at night before the next day of play or something like that. But just the coaches will let you know what time they want the boys there and at the court warming up, and just make sure we get there even early before the coach says, because usually there's a line to get in the gym. So kind of treat it like practice and get there 10, 15 minutes ahead of time so we can get to the court on time. For those of you that played with us last year, because of COVID, we had the travel bubble and we limited some stuff, but this year, as of right now, that doesn't exist for us, for RVC. So as we go to tournaments, parents, you guys can certainly plan a team dinner out at a restaurant, or, some fun team activity in whatever city we're going to, or just to get together. So there's no limitations on that due to COVID for those that played last year. It was pretty restricted, but this year, RVC is not restricting anything. So any restrictions would come from the tournament itself or the city or state that we're going to. The tournament schedule, again, will be available 3 to 4 days before the event. And as soon as it's available, I'll send out an email to the coaches and to you guys, to the parents, and say, the schedule's online here, because all the schedules are online on different websites. So I'll send those out as soon as they become available, so you guys can start tracking the schedule and planning for what you need to plan for, what time to get there, and all that stuff. And make sure before you let your son leave a tournament venue, make sure that the coach dismisses them and that all the work assignments are done, and that there's no more matches to be played that day, because you don't want to have to forfeit or run back to the gym if we have to play or work an extra match. Oh, and the last thing for tournaments, make sure if we're flying into tournaments, to these ones in Florida or Austin in Texas, that you book the latest possible flight out on the last day, just to be safe that all the games are finished. We usually say not until anytime after 6 or later, just to be safe. And sometimes that, hopefully there's enough flights at that time. We will always try and book the latest flight back on the last day of play for that. And then the last part, some admin stuff. I'm doing the hotels and tournament registrations and all that stuff. So you have questions about hotels, you can send me an email or you can give me a call. Patty Nelms is the one who does all the billing and takes care of your son's RVC account. So if you have any information or any questions for her or any questions on billing, you can email Patty Nelms, and I'll put her email address right here in the chat for everyone. It's pnelms@rvc.net. It's also on our website. And then Chris Wakefield is the one that is took care of the uniform orders for us. So when we get our uniforms, and hopefully we're supposed to start getting them in at the end of this week, early next week, so we can get them out to the boys at their first practice, hopefully. If you have any issues with your uniform, you can email Chris Wakefield. His email is also in the chat and on our website, cwakefield@rvc.net. Yes, I will be emailing out all the coaches' contact info, email and stuff too, just to make sure you guys all have that. And we'll send out a list. And you always have my cell phone too. I'll usually be at practice as well, and always have my phone with me. So yes, for the hotels that are on our website, where it says coaches only, that just means the athlete and the parents are free to stay wherever they want, and they can stay with their parent as well. So, or you can also book with another teammate and one of their parents, you can take that wherever you want. Just those are all the Power League events. The 2-day ones are hotel. The hotel choice is up to you guys. The Aau Club Code. I will put that in the chat right here, so that you guys can see the club code for AAU membership. And I think I sent it out in email, but I will also send that out again. So I think that's all the questions in the chat. So if you guys have any other questions, I think you should be able to unmute yourself, I hope, and feel free to unmute and then just ask when I'll answer any other questions.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I will put the hotel at. I'll put the event addresses up on the hotel website, part of our website, so that you can see that right next to the hotel as well.
Hey Matt.
Yes.
This is Kurel, CB's mom. This is the first time on the travel team. So when do we start booking the air tickets, or how does that work?
Yes. So if your team's traveling, you can start booking the airline tickets as soon as you want. I'm working on getting all the ones done for the coaches now and getting all their information. So I'll put those up on the team's page that we saw at the beginning, where they have the tournament schedule. So if you wanted to go on the same flight as your coach, that would be fine too. But you're certainly free to fly whatever airline and whatever flight, that fits your own personal schedule. You don't have to fly with the coach.
Okay.
Hi, Matt. I have a question.
Sure.
So in the event that the player is not able to make it, if they're not feeling well, or if we, miss a flight, or it's delayed, or, we can't make it on time to the games, do we just communicate that with you? How does that work? If it's a tournament, then if we're late for one thing, is it okay to arrive for the next?
Yes. So we've had, and the first year we went out to Chicago in January, we had quite a few flight delays and everything. Oh, yeah. It's just letting the coach know, because as long as they're going to be on the roster ahead of time. So as long as they're on the roster, if you have to miss the first day because of a flight delay or anything like that, they can still play after that. It would just be letting the coach know that they're going to be might be missing a player for the first match or something like that. But administratively, they'll be fine to come in and play whenever they get to the gym.
Okay.
That's not an issue.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey Matt, can I ask a very dumb question?
Absolutely.
I fear I may have grabbed the wrong link or something. This meeting was this meeting for the national travel team?
It was for all the travel teams.
I was a little okay. But I guess maybe I missed something really big along the way. The regional boys teams will they be traveling to, like, these are the tournaments they're going to in Orlando and Texas? Or did
No,
I miss
so
something there?
so that part, that those flying tournaments, those are just for the national teams.
Okay.
Yeah, so that part about flying, on the regional teams, that's not an issue. All of those tournaments for the regional teams are just the ones within driving distance. But the national teams are going to those tournaments too. So that's why we're having all this together, because you will be going to some together, but all the flying ones, those are only the national teams.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I told you it's a dumb question.
No, that's all right. No worries.
So for the national, it would be for both, right? 1 and 2?
Yes. So, yep. So 1 and 2 for us. Yep. I mean, that's how we denote the national teams.
Okay.
For boys. Yeah.
This is the first time. How does this tournament work? Like, it's like multiple teams playing continuously for 2 days, 3 days, or?
Yes. So the first day of a 2-day tournament, the first day, the teams will have pool play in the morning or the evening wave, and then the second day will be usually is a single elimination playoff.
Okay.
And then if it's a 3-day tournament, the first 2 days are pool play, and then the third day is a single elimination playoff. So your team could finish on the third day of a 3-day tournament. They could finish at 10 a.m. Or it could go until 3 or 4 in the afternoon. It just depends on how your team does the first 2 days, and then how they do in the playoffs.
Okay. No, the other reason I'm asking is, will there be, I know, like, high school kids and their work, so will they have some time to do their homework and catch up schoolwork when it is a 3-day play?
Yes. So if your team plays in the morning wave, they usually start at 8 a.m. and then get done around 1 or 2 p.m.
Okay.
So they'll have the afternoon, or if they're in the afternoon wave, they won't start until 2 or 3. So they'll have time in the morning to go through, and that'll be for the first 2 days. And then the third day, usually everyone starts sometime in the morning. So you just got to kind of wait until you finish on the last day.
Hey, Matt, just a quick question. The Coastal Plains Showdown, March 12th and 13th, do you know, where is that going to be held? Is that an RVC event?
I believe so. Let me double check real quick before I tell you the wrong info. Yeah, so that'll be here. Most likely the boys will probably be at Stonebridge.
Okay, thanks.
But yes, that one will be in town.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see, another question. So bringing the volleyballs to tournaments. That's a good question. So each of the boys, as part of their fees and everything, will get a volleyball. So as soon as those come in, we'll give each boy one, and then they're expected to bring those ones to the tournaments. And then for practices, we have plenty of volleyballs at both gyms, so they don't need to worry about that. But they should bring their own volleyball that they'll get from us to the tournaments. Yes, and the 17-2s are not traveling to Florida or Texas, but they're still considered a national team since we're going to Bain in Pennsylvania.
Matt, I had a question about the weight training on Wednesday.
Yes.
So the weight training on Sundays it comes either before or after the actual practice, whereas on Wednesdays, it's just an hour on its own at Bird Hill. And I think we were wondering, since just an hour and we're coming so far, are we always required to go to that Wednesday training? And was there ever any talk of maybe doing like you did on Sunday and putting that back to back with one of the practices on Tuesdays or Thursdays?
So, well, we do have other teams that are also lifting. So for this is the first year with Bonds and doing it. So we try to give each team 1 day before their practice and then 1 day off of their practice schedule, just because that we just don't have the space over there to have too many teams in at one time. But on that Wednesday as well, we're gonna have a couple open courts and we're gonna have open gyms too. So the boys, if they're coming in to lift, they're certainly welcome to come in early and play or stay after their lifting after their lift and work out. So we'll have that from 5 to 7. So if they come in at 5 to lift, they can stay until 7 and play, or they can come in early if they're lifting at 7 and then play for now and then go in and lift with the coaches. But pretty much all the teams that are doing it will have 1 day before practice and then 1 day on a non-practice day.
But on the same line, for the 16 we don't have the strength and conditioning.
No, so Bon Secours was supposed to, I'm not sure if you guys got an email from them yet. They were supposed to send out an email. So they had some staffing changes, so they had to take out some times that they couldn't do. So they were going to email you guys and I'll double check with them. And if not, I'll send out the info to you guys tomorrow to the 16-2s. But you guys were supposed to be offered a spot in the optional lifting, which I can send you that information when I can get it from them tomorrow. But they had to change their schedule for us, for some of the teams. So, but no, so that's optional right now, and I'll send you those details tomorrow. I'll get them from Bon Secours.
Okay.
Yes, to clarify, yes, the 16-2s, you guys are traveling to Austin, along with the 17-1s for the boys Southwest championship or big qualifier tournament.
Okay, 16-2, so it's only Austin, so we don't go to Florida. That's good.
Correct.
Oh, no,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. If someone else have any questions. All right. Well, if not, well, thank you guys for coming out. I recorded this, so I will get this recording posted on our YouTube, so I can send it out to the parents who couldn't make it, and it'll be up there for you guys to look at. And I'll also just send out a short little email tomorrow with the questions that the parents asked, that you guys asked, and the answers, and then some of the stuff we went over as well, so that you don't have to watch the whole video to get to the information. But I'll get all that stuff up tomorrow, and I'll send it out to you guys once it's all ready to go. But if that's all the questions, then thank you guys for coming out. Feel free to send me an email or call or text if you have any questions about anything coming up. and we'll be sending out a couple more emails as we get closer to the start of the season with some reminders, especially about memberships and all that kind of stuff. So thank you guys for coming out tonight. I appreciate everyone taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.